Hey, Tom, it's Bob from the office down the hall. It's good to see you, buddy. How have you been? Things have been okay for me, except that I'm a zombie now. I really wish you'd let us in.
This is Ross Payton here with Roleplaying Public Radio, and this is episode 41, the Smoking D20, how to run a mystery game, or some advice on running mysteries. It is a mystery.
I'm sorry, Ross.
Yes.
I was trying to think of a way to politely do the whole mock the announcer voice thing, but
that's old.
I'm just not in. I'm not feeling it right now.
I know. I'll just say it, and we could just move on. Tom, shtick's old. The shtick is old.
Yes,
so
but
we can move on.
But I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for nostalgia.
Well, yeah. You know who else was?
Hitler.
Yes. So
and the Nazis.
They loved that shit. Yeah. So.
I thought they were all about looking to the future.
No, they were very nostalgic about King Arthur and,
Vikings.
Yeah, see? You want to be like him? So.
Well, I like Vikings.
You just don't know when to quit.
Sometimes I don't. No, I admit it.
Yeah. So anyways, we got a big episode for you today. It's been a while. I've been busy with all kinds of stuff. And this one is going to be about how to run a mystery game.
I really haven't been very busy with things that are important, but if Ross is busy, we can't do anything.
Yeah, because Tom doesn't learn the technical stuff to do it. So
I also want to spend a fortune on the equipment either.
Well, equipment's already here, Tom, if you just learn how to use it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You got time to teach me all that shit?
See, there you go. No one taught me, Tom. I learned it myself.
How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel better than you. All right.
So,
Yeah. Not really. No, not at all. It's just annoying. So, anyways, we should get on to the news of the RPPR, the announcements. First off, we have a huge one. This is a project I've been working on for months and months and months, and I'm only now getting around to getting out in the public, and this is sort of the official public announcement on RPPR. I have a new project. It's called Zombies of the World. It's going to be a web series. It's going to be a blog. Tom's going to help on it, and the basic idea is that it's a nature documentary about zombies and all the subspecies of zombies.
And there are many.
There are many.
More than you'd think.
Many more. For example, the Egyptian mummy is really a subspecies of zombies. I bet you didn't know that, but now you do.
Well, I helped on this movie. I am educated.
Well, yes. You see, it's really a desert zombie. I mean, it's slow, it's undead, it wants to kill people. So
the hopping zombie.
The Chinese hopping corpse is another type of zombie. Some people thought it was a vampire, but no, it's a zombie, okay? It's a zombie.
And please, vampires, there's no such thing.
Well, there are vampires, but that's beyond the scope of this documentary.
That's a project for later.
So we're going to cover adaptation, the evolution of the zombie, how it's adapted, how humanity is adapted to it, migration habits, reproductive there are many endangered and extinct zombie species. Did you know the Aztec mummy is now extinct because of predation from its natural predator, the robot? Well, not a natural predator. It was brought over with the conquistadors, like the rats.
Yeah,
so,
and horses.
Aztec mummies versus robots. It's a tragedy. The robots win most of the time.
Yeah.
Because they're made of metal.
And they're strong.
So, if you go to zombiesoftheworld.com, you can see the trailer that sort of gives a little hints about what's to come.
Yeah. It's on YouTube as well if you're lazy.
Yeah, well, the YouTube, I mean, I'll embed the video in this episode's show notes. But Zombies of the World, we'll have a blog. Tom is going to be contributing to the blog.
I shall.
There's going to be all kinds of great stuff if you're a zombie fan. I'm writing a field guide to Zombies of the World.
If you want to donate to zombie charities.
Yes, exactly. There's a poster. We have great art from a very talented artist, Tom Rhodes, and of course Ian Moody and some of the other people, RPPR contributors, collaborators. If you're a zombie fan, this project is giving zombies a different look. Instead of the traditional survival horror, how would you survive a zombie apocalypse? It looks, the more complex view of its role in the ecosystem and the mystery of the zombie.
And how can we coexist with them?
Exactly. So it's just
both are here to stay. So we better learn to live with each other.
Exactly. So we'll have more of this in future episodes. But if you're a zombie
lack
fan,
of education is the primary cause of everything.
Exactly. And we do give zombie survival tips, and though strangely enough, it's not the zombies you have to worry about in the zombie apocalypse or
No.
a zombie attack. It's the other people. So if you want to know who not to trust, stay tuned to Zombies of the World.
Yeah,
we'll give some information about
Yeah,
that.
look at Afghanistan and Iraq when government's suddenly taken away to see how people react.
Exactly. So that's the big project. I've been working on it since at least the summer of last year, and now I'm finally getting it out. You'll hear a lot more about it in the future episodes. But if you're a zombie fan, you want to help out, be sure to send the link to your friends and let them know. So
Spread the word.
Yeah, spread the word. So moving on, as Colbert would say. We're also going to be starting another New World ransom. I know you guys love the New World Primer and the Goblin Hulk PDF, which is being translated into Portuguese by a Brazilian RPPR fan. So. Yeah.
We're international.
Very international. Now, both of those have gotten over, last time I checked, 12,000 downloads for the primer and 11,000 downloads for the Goblin Hulk in the few months they've been up. And that's really big numbers for an RPG.
That's badass.
That's for a PDF.
Yeah.
I mean, Pathfinder obviously got much bigger, but they're huge. But for a little PDF to get my favorite thing is that the torrent sites, the pirate torrent sites with all the little wares PDFs of RPGs. I've seen the New World Primer and on some of these torrent sites like RPG Grab Bag, and they have all these.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free legitimately. You don't need to pirate it, but
I think some people just need to pirate things.
yeah, they just threw it in the bundle with like 50 other PDFs. So I'm like, whatever. I got the Role Playing Public Radio address in there. I got it's promotional. It's free. It's out there. So you don't need to steal. It's okay. Stop all the downloading.
You really went there.
Yeah,
You actually went there.
It was appropriate. Don't you think it worked?
But dude,
It wasn't a writ. It was
okay. I'm not putting you down. I'm just that's surprising coming from you.
Yeah, it worked.
You occasionally step down with the rest of us mortals to say things like
Hey,
that.
it's I like pork chop sandwiches as much as the next guy is what I'm saying. So,
But you don't normally talk about it.
No, I don't. But if I get it too tense and I need a body massage, and I'll go out and say it. I mean, I'm not too.
Holy shit! You are just going all out.
I know. For those of you who don't get me, what references I'm making, I'm not going to link to it. You'll just have to figure that out.
Figure it out,
Or
yeah.
post in the comments and ask questions. We love comments.
Yeah, just be careful because you could wake up on fire.
Yeah. nice
you.
right there. So the codex for the next supplement is going to be called Codex of War, and it's going to be focusing on a war between a native tribe or alliance of tribes versus the colony. So natives versus colonies. So obviously in the RPPR campaign, we're dealing the players dealt with Cortez, a conquistador who took over a bunch of native tribes and then declared war on the colony, basically. But we're going to set up to be more generalized, so you can run all kinds of different wars with different leaders, different types of wars. Like there's all out war, but then there's like. If you look at extra tribes, there are varying levels of war. I mean, like native tribes are prefer more raiding, guerrilla warfare type thing.
Yeah,
so
or Cold War.
Yeah. So it will be very open ended. There's going to be very little 4E mechanical material in it. So it'll be usable in any type of fantasy campaign that's even remotely applicable.
Navi versus the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case there's a couple of people that don't know. What
I mean,
I'm
well,
talking
they do. I guess the colony did have magic robots, so I guess there is some comparison there. Yeah, I wonder what the level adjustment for a Navi would be.
Well, large-sized.
Yeah.
Huge.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, some kind of commune with nature power.
Yeah.
Druids.
Yeah.
Druids and rangers.
I would. I think Avatar would be better if in Avatar 2 they reveal that the planetary. I'm spoiling Avatar. I'm spoiling.
Oh
Avatar.
my god.
If the planetary intelligence in Avatar was revealed to basically be a great old one, and so in Avatar 2 it's like, oh shit, the great old one has woken up and now it's gonna go back to Earth and enslave us all. Yeah. That would be a fucking kick-ass movie. It was like, Plant Cthulhu,
So, but they haven't called you yet.
No, I don't think Cameron is going to go in that direction.
Well, he should.
Yeah, he's probably going to say the planetary intelligence, the Gaia or whatever the Pandora is a good thing, as opposed to being an alien that beyond our comprehension that sees us as insects or mere annoyances that it must enslave or destroy outright. So I don't think he's going to go with that. What do you think? The cosmic dread in Avatar? I didn't really see much of that.
I'm sorry, man. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
True genius is often...
I mean, to be fair, though, I'm kind of biased. I think anything in Cosmic Dread would improve. Anything. You can add Cosmic Dread to anything.
Pride and Prejudice and Cosmic Dread.
Wow. Yeah. War and Peace and Cosmic Dread. Like, Crime and Punishment and Cosmic Dread. It's like, I killed the landlady and I took her money, but what does it mean? I'm going to be eaten by Cthulhu, you know. Yeah.
War and Peace, like, we defeated Napoleon.
My Little Pony and Cosmic Dread.
We're like War and Peace, like, we defeated Napoleon's army, but what does it matter? The old ones are still coming.
Let me describe 40 pages of peasants and their agricultural techniques, and but that's all meaningless because they actually worship a cult that's going to summon an elder god that's going to destroy reality. So. Yeah. Or
the disruption of agriculture because the villagers no longer need to work. The sacrifices they make to their dark god, the god rewards them with gold.
Yeah, exactly.
And only requires that they interbreed with it.
So, that was kind of a weird tangent that we went on, but
I think it was appropriate.
Yeah.
I stand by it.
And the Zombies of the World and Codex of War. Codex of War, hopefully I'm using Kickstarter. Hopefully I'll be able to set that up before you get this episode up. Just check the show notes, and that'll tell you how you can donate, how you can set up money to go that. We're going to go for a bigger number this time. We're going to $1,500, but
oh my God.
Cody is going to be working on it. Patrick's going to be working on it.
Working on it.
Yeah, you'll be working on it. So it'll be a group effort. It'll be awesome. It'll be jawsome even. So
jawsome.
Yeah.
We're going there now?
Yeah.
Wow, weird.
It's going to be sweet, is what I'm saying.
You are high.
I'm high on life.
And some other things.
Yes, Tom. Of course, whatever you say. Finally, in terms, a few more pieces of news. Haiti, tragedy there, but I just want to mention that the Drive-Thru RPG and RPG Now, they're the same company now, had a fundraiser for Haiti, and in January, you could pay $20 and you would get $1,400 worth of RPG PDFs for free. I mean, the deal's over now. It's been over for a little while, but I donated. I had a lot of really cool stuff on there, like 316 Carnage Among the Stars, a bunch of other games. And they just put out a press release. I just want to mention this. $178,900 is how much they raised through Tabletop Gamers.
Gamers are awesome people.
So if you donated, if you got those RPGs, good for you. You're a good person.
Gamers will save the
And you
world.
have a lot more game stuff now.
No,
PDFs, like 1,400, like 60 or 70 PDFs, or I don't know how many there are.
Gamers are going to save this world. Yeah. Well, maybe not.
Yeah. Might tone it down. I mean, good people save the world. A little jump there from the first to the next one, don't you think, Tom?
I believe.
You believe?
I believe.
You believe. And then finally, we're going to Fear the Con next month. I'm going to be running 3 games there. We'll be there Friday and Saturday. We're going to try and do some stuff with some of the other podcasts there. Fear the Boot, obviously, Kicking the Dice Bags. A couple other podcasts are showing up. It's going to be great. Going to record games.
Those of which we aspire
to. I got a new
be.
scenario planned out for Age of Masks, so there'll be a new Age of Masks scenario. It'll be sweet. I'm looking forward to running it. So Tom and I will be there recording stuff. So if you're in if you can make it to St. Louis for that weekend, it would be great. So, because you could say hi and see us and touch and poke us or something.
It's like look at us up, not with disdain.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're the guy people downloading and listening to us, but you are RPPR listeners. You're just so great. You're so
we
awesome.
are just mortal.
Yeah.
We are not gods.
Yeah. And we're not awesome like the RPPR listeners.
Exactly.
They're so awesome. So, especially if they donate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He makes you gods among men or gods among women, So, and finally, sort of personal news, I got a new computer. I just bought the parts. It's Intel i5 750 quad core. It's got a Radeon.
Why don't you tell them to put it together for you?
I'm getting to that, Tom. So it's a nice new computer using Windows 7. Yeah, the thing is, my old PC was like 6 or 7 years old. It was running Windows XP.
It might as well have been a paperweight.
Well, it still worked, but it was like...
It was shit.
Yeah, it wasn't...
It was shit. I want you to say that, Ross.
It was not shit.
It was
served
shit.
me well. It was time.
But now it's shit.
No, it's retired.
It's dead.
No, I just took the heart.
You retired it the CIA way.
That's some vitriol, Tom. Did my computer like shoot your dog or cat or something?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, my new computer is great. Dual monitor. It's sweet. It's it's only like $800. It's not like top of the line, but it will be good. But the thing is, Aaron built it for me because I've never built a computer by myself, and I didn't want to fuck it up. And Aaron had experience.
He's put together many a system before,
and he did it on the first try, and it worked just great.
And now Ross owes him.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure, I do.
And that pains Ross to no end.
No. Aaron's a good guy. Yeah.
I've watched you cry yourself to sleep a couple of times over that.
No, Tom. I don't know why you would be watching me sleep. I thought I locked my doors at night. Apparently not.
You haven't found the cameras.
Oh, well.
I just watch you.
I think we
always.
should move on. It got a little creepy there, you know.
I thought a little creepiness would be good.
Yeah, which I guess is a good segue into our main topic of the show, which is, of course, running a mystery game, running an investigation game, which is, about creepiness.
Yeah. Meat and potatoes of Call of Cthulhu, really.
Well, and a lot of other games, World of Darkness, a lot of them, a lot of Shadowrun, Cyberpunk can be run. I mean, pretty much everything other than any modern game can be a mystery game, investigation game, but it's really D&D that's the investigation, sort of the very out of character with this.
Anyway, you can do it if you must.
Yeah. It's not, the system's not set up for it. But I know there's going to be like people coming like, I run a blah blah blah.
Well, I'm good for you.
30 sessions. Yeah. So, anyways, mystery games. The genesis of this episode is because Tom, you've been running some RPG scenarios, mystery games, and you found. Well, tell.
Well, it's something that it didn't become clear to me. I mean, it really wasn't true in Divine Fire, which is the first thing I ever ran with you. It's really the later ones that I've been running action-oriented games for 25 years. Not that long, but like going on to over 20 years. I've been running that. And it's quite a change to try to do some investigative stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I played in a lot of them with you, so I thought, I could do this. And I have to tell you, running an action game and running a mystery are two very different things.
Very. After your instincts for running action games are sort of contrary to what mystery games were. Very counterintuitive for you. Is what.
Right. Running an action scene is easy for me. And for me, it's pretty much you have the situation, you got the guys you got the shit you're gonna throw at them.
Opposition.
Yeah, and then you shake it up and just throw it and say go. Mm-hmm. And it's like go from here to here and alive.
Right.
That's the skeleton of running an action scene. The rest is style. I mean, it's style and everything else and what the players do. But it's essentially get from A to B without being killed.
Right.
A mystery it's a labyrinth.
Right. Well, tell me about your experience. Focus on when you were running mysteries, what happened?
Well, it's like I've done another one recently, which. Yeah. I did one before that was set in a forest fire that I really did not like.
Yeah.
But
we haven't recorded. We haven't posted it yet.
No, but running it. I tend to notice when I do a mystery, my opening scenes are really good and my ending scenes are really good. But the middle can get really strained sometimes because with a mystery, with my thing with a mystery, I have a problem putting lots of clues out.
Well, talk about the one you just ran, how you stumbled on it, what was your specific hurdles?
Okay, well, it was Call of Cthulhu in the Cold War KGB.
It was a sequel to Divine Fire.
To Divine Fire.
Yeah.
And everyone still had fun, which was great, but
give the listener. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Ross. It was essentially the players were playing KGB agents, and a prisoner had escaped from a Soviet prison.
Right.
Which was, by the way, a character from the first Divine Fire.
Kohler, right? The guard who was
the SS guard who survived.
Yeah.
And the players were a KGB team sent to bring him back.
Right.
Now the beginning was investigating the actual prison, the
Right.
cell he was in, the escape he did, and right off the bat, I put only there was only a few clues I put in
Right.
that were very specific because there really was only one place to go from there,
Right.
which was, following on the trail. So
Right.
all I had to do there.
Right.
All I had to do there was put just enough clues so they could look, okay, and well, he's probably going to go here, so we need to
Right.
go here. But it's once they got there
Yeah.
that I'm thinking in a very linear fashion.
Well, yeah, I when we were discussing the show, I think you told me that you were thinking, oh, okay, now what do I do now? Okay, they need to get here. You were thinking
Yeah, I had a few situations where there was a clue that had to be found, and everyone would roll their spot hidden. Everyone failed. I'm like, oh shit, I really need them to find this.
right.
So I had to. Okay, it was one of those moments where I was kind of doing exactly what I just did.
Yeah.
So your brain goes into maximum overdrive.
You didn't have anything. You couldn't think of how to adjust for that. In other
Right.
words, like you basically hit a brick wall, which is something you don't really. Does that ever happen when you're running an action game? Do you ever like hit a spot where the players?
Actually, the thing with action games, I don't.
Right.
Because with that, if I run into something where, oh, there's a problem. Well, the best thing with an action game is, like if I need to buy time, like 5 guys burst through the window with guns.
Right. That's Raymond Chandler's advice. Yeah.
And then I know that's if there's a problem, that's normally plenty of time. Like, oh, and once that fight's over, like, hey, one of them dropped something.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Good.
but with the mystery game I was trying to run, that really wasn't that. I wasn't
It
finding
wouldn't
any way
make
around
sense
it.
either.
No.
It would be out of genre, and it wouldn't.
And
Not just as a genre, just it wouldn't make sense.
And
It
also,
wouldn't
I planned the whole game like I would plan an action game.
Okay.
One scene, another scene, another scene. This is what happens here. And I was really I think everyone could tell I was just focused on getting from scene A to scene B to scene C.
Right.
And oftentimes the players would say they felt their characters had done everything they could possibly do.
Right.
Which,
Yeah, actually, that's something that I've felt several times in your scenarios. Now, when one of the players says that, what are you thinking? Like, what is the disconnect between us saying we've done everything we can, and you like, well, what are you waiting for, or what were you specifically like wanting to have?
well, I have the whole thing and the whole plot in my head.
Right.
And I guess sometimes I assume that my line of logic is perfectly reasonable, and everyone else is just going to go along the same way.
Okay. So
But-
you were sorry.
But I don't compensate for, well, what if they don't think that?
Okay. So you were expecting us to do one specific thing that would trigger
Yeah.
going on.
Maybe if
next.
I was really advanced, two. There
Yeah.
were two things.
Okay. So that's the thing. There's some
Mm-hmm.
hidden clue. There's something that we didn't do. So that's what I was wondering about. I didn't know if that was like we had just not hit upon the right thing to do, or if you had or if you were just hitting a brick wall again. But you knew what was supposed to go.
I knew it was supposed to happen
Okay.
at all times.
Okay.
But oftentimes it's the trigger I was looking for. You didn't get.
Okay.
And,
were there any particular ones that were like, I can't believe they didn't think of this? I mean, I'm just curious. Like, was there anything? For many of the games, like anything that's just like, oh my god, I can't believe you didn't do X.
Nothing that really jumps out.
Okay.
But there was nothing really striking in the KGB one,
Mm-hmm.
which is the most recent thing I've run. I think there were some in some of my earlier ones.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and listen to them.
Okay. Well, okay. I was just curious. That's just personal curiosity.
Right.
But you kind of hit it on the head, that you have to think about the structure of your game, and an action game and a mystery game are very different. Like, I mean, you're sort of hitting it earlier. An action game is, if you think about it, it's trailblazing. You're going, where point A is, and the players know where point B is from the very beginning.
It's like, now get through the shit I've thrown in your
Right.
way.
You have to hack a path through there, through violence, or through traps, or through whatever else, or convince the guy to do this. It's a very direct game. There's no real mystery you just have to get through it. It's an obstacle course.
There can be mystery, like more in the ways like big reveals or something.
Yeah. But the very structure of a mystery game is different because it's a maze. You start at point A and you don't even necessarily know where point B, the end, is. So you're presented with ideally with a multitude of paths, and you have to go through them. And the question then is interpreting the information you have in order to pick the right path. And then go on to the next point, to go on to the next point, to go on to the next point. So,
I remember you drew a diagram saying what you're kind of illustrating your problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I am going to say that everyone still had a great time. I feel I should reiterate that, but you said that you showed me that the games often have only a few branching paths.
Yeah.
And you really kind of need more.
Yeah. Now, for me, the reason why what I did before I ran anything of my own, any mysteries that I developed on my own, is I read and I ran a lot of published scenarios. And this is the great thing about Call of Cthulhu. It's probably the highest standard in adventure writing in the RPG industry as a whole. I mean, D&D adventure dungeon crawls are pretty much,
They're dungeon crawls.
Yeah. But in the Call of Cthulhu, you have a very high standard for most of the scenarios. I mean, there's obviously some sneakers, but Delta Green adventures are all uniformly excellent, and the ones in the core book are pretty good. The Haunting and all that other stuff. So now the what Tom was talking about, I pulled out my copy of Mass Anir Lothotep, the longest campaign, second to longest campaign aside from New World that I've ever run, and what I did was I looked at the very first room, the very first scene. Not really spoiling it. So the characters are in New York City, and they're going to see their friend who's a reporter or investigative journalist, and they find him in his room murdered. And depending on how long it took him to get there, the murders could be long gone, or they could have a fight with the cultist who just hacked him to pieces. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just going to read you a list of it's the entry on page 23 of the Complete Mask. The information in room 410. I'm just going to summarize. Item, a letter addressed to Roger Carlyle. The text is a barely readable scrawl. Item, a business card, elegantly engraved. Item, a matchbook, empty. Item, a photograph, blurry and grainy. It shows a large diesel yacht behind some Chinese junks. Item, a business card, printed on ordinary stock. Item, a typewritten letter, without envelope, from Miriam Artwright. Item, a small sheet of paper inserted in the second volume of book. Item, the symbol on the forehead of the victim. And there are a bunch of handouts to go along with it. I mean, you don't need to go all the effort of looking on that. But that's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items in the very first room, not counting whatever the cultists had. So the players already have a ton of shit they can do, more than they could do in a single scenario. I mean, they have to prioritize what's the most important clue, So again, the central challenge in a mystery, I think, is interpretation. Interpreting the information you have to figure out the truth, to uncover the truth, which is different. In your game, there was only one specific path. It was just figuring out the specific keyword or button or action. So, now the question then becomes, how do you do this for your own material? So, in terms of, you say you already know everything that's going to happen, or the plot forward and backwards when you're writing your own material. What do you mean by that?
Okay. Well, obviously, I don't know. I don't everything. I don't know how the players are going to react to some things.
Yeah.
But I pretty much have where everything's going to go in what order. Mm-hmm. Which I think that's order is a problem, because they may find like in the KGB one, it could have been they might have found the SS guy before they went to the farm.
Okay. Well, how would we have gotten the SS guy? The information, we only heard about the SS guy through the radio in the farmhouse. How would it have been impossible for us to find the SS guy before?
Well, that's an example.
Okay.
Obviously it's pretty much it's in every location there's like 1 or 2 clues max that I had.
That you had. Okay.
If I were to rewrite this and try to do it better, obviously there's a lot of changes I would make.
Right. Now, the thing is, what I do is when I'm writing my own mystery, for example, last night I ran a great New World of Darkness game for Cody and Jason that I'll post soon, because I think I really nailed it. In the first 90 minutes, it's just Cody and Jason in this small town basically researching, and there's no danger. They're just doing legwork, and it's kind of there's some role playing because it's a small town in Kansas, so they he infiltrates a high school cafeteria lunch or kitchen so he can get some gossip from the old ladies and everything, but I didn't come up with a list of specific clues. It's what I did is I understood what the backstory behind this was, and I understood where this information would go. Who would know what? I'd have a general idea of who would know what and what kind of things. For example, so if I was doing like your KGB scenario, for example, I would know that the person who dug out the prisoner, who helped them escape, he would have left this kind of trail behind him, because that was the thing I think about it, was that your characters were so competent that they didn't leave any traces behind.
Yeah.
And one thing that sort of that I was kind of surprised was that there wasn't any real information from the dossier. I mean, you said this prisoner had been there for 7 years. 7 years, I think, right? It's 1952, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but we didn't really get anything from the dossier.
No,
we didn't even find out.
That's one mistake I realized right as I was starting.
Yeah.
I didn't really write up a dossier.
Okay. But did you have to write up a dossier? I mean,
I didn't really detail it that much.
Okay. But logically, what kind of information would have been in there? Could you have made that up on the fly?
Yeah, I think I could have.
Okay, so that's one thing, is like saying, okay, the dossier, it would have been pretty big, I think, at least. It probably would have been a couple of boxes if he'd been there for 7 years. I mean, of all these interviews and everything, and they hadn't shot him yet, so obviously he was valuable. What would the guards have known? I mean, like we talked to the guards a little bit, and we didn't really get much information from them, I don't think. Could they have had more information? Could they have more?
Well, obviously, once again, I was really. That's one personal weakness of mine. Some scenes I like more than others.
Okay.
And I'm anxious to get there.
Oh, okay.
If there's like a scene I suddenly think of, and I'm like, oh man, oh shit, I love this. This is gonna be awesome. But there's like 2 scenes before it that I kind of thought out, like, yeah, they need to be here, but I'm really looking forward to this one.
Okay.
I sometimes get impatient.
Okay.
Especially with our group, but they like the investigative shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, Cody and Jason really got into that.
So they can spend a long time on some stuff that maybe I'm not that interested in.
Yeah.
Which, that's just a personal preference thing.
Right. That's very interesting. Like Cody and Jason, they chose to do the investigating.
Oh, yeah.
They like, I didn't force them to stay in this town for an hour and a half before they could go to the haunted house. I don't want to give anything away, but there was basically a kind of haunted house there, and they wanted to figure out all the. I asked them, "Do you want to go to the house?" I didn't force them.
I like investigation too, like the stuff I ran before. I often just the build up to getting to where the scary shit was.
But my question to you is, you say you want to get to a certain scene. Why can't you get to that scene right now? What's holding you back?
Because once again, I have planned it in a linear fashion.
Okay.
It's so in my head, I'm thinking they have to get from here to here, then to there.
Okay. Well, so how hard would it be for you to say I just want to get to that now, like to skip those scenes? Would that throw you off so much, or
I don't think it would, and I think I could probably do it.
Okay.
I just don't think I was really too keen on testing that.
Changing that. Okay. So you're still you're still a little wobbly on improvising a little bit, or improvising. Or at least not in terms
more like improving on the stuff I was working with,
changing what you've.
I think I should say that I'm actually planning an actual action game with this group, which is I've never done that before.
Right.
So I'm actually interested.
I'll make a pacifist quadriplegic.
Well, then you're gonna die very fast. I'm really good at improving certain things.
Okay. Role playing an NPC, I know you're pretty good at.
Role playing an NPC and like role playing action scenes, I think I'm really good at.
But you're afraid. It seems you're reluctant to touch the structure
because I have to admit, running mysteries is still outside my comfort zone, and in fact, I kind of just dove right into it.
Yeah.
I didn't read any published scenario. Well, I read a couple, but
right.
I should have run a published scenario first.
That's, I mean, to be honest, you're bolder than I was. I was much more cautious with you because I ran so much material out there because I was reading this stuff. I was like, how can I compete with this? I mean, this guy's done a lot of work. He's dug up all this information and he's read all this stuff. And to me, in a sense, that was kind of a problem because I, especially in Macedon or Lothar, it wasn't until halfway through the campaign that I was confident enough to start, adding my own material to the published material, if that makes sense. Like, I was running it strictly by the book. I wasn't touching a thing in that. And I think the game suffered because of the PCs. No matter how great the scenario is written, no group is going to approach it the same way. So there's going to be some times you're going to have to, color outside the lines, as they were, if that makes sense. And I was afraid to do that. So I know I can sympathize. The exact same problem, just, especially it was even worse for me because this was published material. The author's words on printed paper. Somebody paid money for this.
I think I had just kind of a realization right at this moment.
Yeah.
The reason I remember the Mutants and Masterminds thing I ran.
Which one?
The future one.
Where I was Praxis, where it's set in the space station at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really more of an action game I was planning.
Yeah.
But my head was locked on now planning mysteries.
Okay.
I ran it as a mystery when I planned it as an action.
Okay.
It's always kind of bugged me why I've never been satisfied with that.
Okay.
So I was playing an action game and ran it like a mystery.
Interesting. I don't really remember. What kind of friction did that cause, or what kind of problems did that cause for you? That, like, from your point of view. I mean, I don't.
Once again, there was only you probably noticed I didn't really have many branches where you could go out.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of planned it that way.
Yeah.
But
So what happened? So if you planned it to have a bunch of options, why didn't you?
I think because every game I've run so far with this group has been a mystery thing. That I was in kind of an act.
I wouldn't call Divine Fire mystery. I mean, that's survival horror,
it's survival horror,
which
is a type of action.
Yeah.
But I guess I was realizing that something I had very little experience with and needed to work on. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a lot of experience running mysteries. I thought I need to build up my ability to do that.
Okay.
So, I guess Divine Fire, which I personally liked, was because a lot of action, but I put some investigation into it as well. They're like, okay, that worked well. Let me try. I reworked it. I think the next game I ran was just the next run of it. Mm-hmm. I thought it worked better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, a little more confident. Then I think the next one was the Forest Fire one.
Yeah.
And that one to me I did not like at all.
Yeah. Not everything's going to be a hit. I mean, or knock out of.
I know you can run games for 20 years like I have, and you're still going to do some shit.
Yeah, no, I've run some pretty. I mean, there have been some New World sessions and some other games that it's like, it didn't work quite nearly as well as I thought it was. Like the second game of Prototype, which we're talking about all these games that we haven't published, that we haven't posted yet.
You'll hear them.
Yeah, eventually, and then you'll come back and listen to this because I know you guys love listening to this stuff over and over.
Right.
And that's great because that's just super.
So, and then I built up a little confidence with those first two.
Yeah.
Then the Forest Fire one hit, and I realized that sucked. And then the confidence I had built had dropped. I'm like, all right, I need to rework. I need to do some more of this. But
yeah.
So then I thought I would try. Okay, I'll get back to something I like. But every Mutants and Masterminds game I've ever run has been an action oriented, as it's kind of designed to do.
Right.
But once again, I was trying to increase my ability to do something else, which was more investigative and mystery stuff, and that almost seemed to really overtake it. Right.
Well, action games are easy to run. I mean, point A to point B. I mean, it's a very narrative structure. I mean, like, all traditional media is basically that. I mean, like, TVs, movies, they are point A to point B. It just, I mean, it's hard to see how to reframe that, restructure that for an RPG. So yeah,
but it's up to now that I now think maybe I should just run one of the action games I've always run for this group.
No, it'd be great.
So that's what that's what I'm going to do next.
But I would really encourage you to stay with mystery games because I think mystery games are really rewarding.
No, they are, and I've learned more just trying to run mystery than I have in a long time.
Yeah. If you want to improve your GMing skills, for one thing, it seems like you still. you're reluctant to mess around with the structure of a game in the middle of a game, even with your own material, right?
Right.
So mysteries have to force you to do that because players will do the unexpected, and you'll have to, or they'll interpret clues in a way you never saw. So you have
But
to like.
I really kind of think B12 was the best I ever did there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it kind of suffered from the same thing, the middle part, the investigation,
But there was only 2 players. It was a pretty short one.
And Aaron and I were bouncing off each other, and that
Right.
friction caused a lot of entertainment, I think. So
Yeah.
Card.
Business card, man.
Oh man, I can't believe that. So I think that gives you an idea of how to improve your basic mystery, how to write it, is to present more options than players can do. And again, the challenge becomes interpretation, figuring it out, getting to the truth, which can be somewhere buried in a pile of secrets and lies.
Yeah.
Secrets and lies.
Actually, I'll tell you, I think the best thing I've learned so far with running those mysteries, particularly the last one, is I really had to do some research on it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn, okay, was Stalin still alive in 52? Good. It was called the MGB then, not the KGB. Or who was the minister of the Stasi? Who was his deputy?
Yeah.
I had to do all that kind of stuff, which is before I didn't really matter.
Yeah. I get you, and that's the sort of thing you have to know, because for me to run a mystery, I have to know the plot well enough that I can basically figure out if a player says, I'm going to talk to this person. Like I obviously, when I wrote this haunted house scenario, that I knew there's a small town there, but I didn't stat out or figure out who the lunch ladies were in the high school cafeteria. I was like, okay, you're going to the high school.
Oh yeah, even I don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, but logically, they're small town people. This haunted house has been around there for decades. They would know some shit. So what kind of shit would they know? Well, I just kind of figured it out on the fly.
I avoided that house when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that they all ask questions when on their graduating year. So they say, oh yeah, I asked this and blah 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 and blah 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 blah. So and so did her, and so and so is going out with so and so, and blah. The kind of gossip stuff. So you figure that out, and you go from there. So that, I think, gives you, for you listeners out there, if that helps you write your own mysteries. Again, I think the basic advice is write your own mystery. Read the mysteries, Call of Cthulhu Adventures especially. Run a few published ones if you can, and then make sure you know the material and set it up as a maze. Don't set it up as a trail blazing thingy obstacle course. Unless
you want to do that.
Well, then it's an action game.
Then you're running action.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously.
Throwing lots of gunships.
There's one question about structure I wanted to ask you. So have you run any action games? Have you run a sandbox game? Like where players are totally open? And I know we've talked about sandbox games before. But
I've done a few of those. I've only done a few, not so much because I don't like them, but often the players I go with, if you let them wander, that's exactly what they're going to do.
Okay.
They're just going to wander.
They don't really have any. They want to.
I mean, I think this group I could probably do it with.
Yeah.
But like my other group that I ran the gargoyles for.
Yeah.
No, they don't want that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think, maybe they could, but they want some direction.
Okay.
So really, I think, don't do that unless the players can do it.
Unless the players want to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But assuming the players do, like, even in a sandbox game, it's still linear because they just choose which obstacle course they want to go over.
Right.
Like, oh, I want to go rob a bank. Okay. I mean, it's like GTA. I want to go rob a bank. Well, it's this mini game. Or, I want to con some people. It's this mini game. Or, something like that. So sandbox games are still pretty linear. It's just you choose which.
In fact, I did try it one time.
Yeah.
It was Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And they were it was a mob boss from another city who was forced out of the player's home city.
Yeah.
But who knew the players, hires them to, as a favor, create another organization to rival the one that threw him out.
Okay.
And all I was going to do, just drop them in the city. Yeah, they have this much startup money, a small list of contacts, and their own skills.
Yeah.
And it was build a criminal network.
Okay.
Start with spend this money however you want, but if it's gone, if you blow it, it's gone.
Right. So how do the players respond?
Well, actually, Aaron actually made this one not happen.
Oh, yeah?
He didn't like the idea of being in a criminal organization.
Aaron. Yeah.
Like, this was so long ago, but
Yeah.
he more wanted, I think he more wanted to do a aid organization for the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, he was looking for a charity.
I see. Well, that...
Which I'm like, I already see where this is going.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
In fact, that whole game, I actually ended that one. Aaron, you're not really into this, are you?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, no. Well, that's good. Let's just stop this.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I think that... let's just stop this. That's a good segue for our next bit. Tom, you don't have a letter.
I'm sorry. Yes, every waking moment for the last couple weeks has been thoroughly focused on Mass Effect 2.
Yes.
I'm not going to give a shout out because that's just wrong.
Yeah. It's a big game.
You know about it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
Yes. Fight for the lost. Or
Wow,
whatever.
Ross, you do know, don't you?
I've seen TV commercials for it. Tom.
You watch TV, do you?
Yeah, I do watch TV.
Well,
I watch
good for you.
Daily Show and Colbert.
Wow.
I know.
You're awesome.
And Lost. Although I haven't seen this week because
well, you're not a true fan then.
I'll watch it.
Better.
Okay. So anyways, but we will have something special. I'm going to read an excerpt from a novel that I'm reading that is utterly hilarious. It's called How I Became a Famous Novelist. It will be a shout out, obviously. And the excerpt is about this guy analyzing trends in popular fiction and figuring he's approaching writing a novel like a scam. Like, oh, these guys, they're just scamming people to make money, writing crap to make money. And it's very funny. So I'll read an excerpt of that, and then we'll go on, of course, do shout-outs and an anecdote from listener and all this other stuff. And, of course, the music for this episode is Mr. Jonathan Colton. Your brains, because...
just in case you've never heard of that.
Zombies are great. Zombies are just peachy keen.
And they're misunderstood.
They are. So.
And they'll still kill you, though.
They will. Oh, they'll fuck you up. All right. Well, by Steve Hely, who is a writer for, was a writer for David Letterman and is writing for American Dad and a few other shows, I think. It's about a guy who gets an invitation to his ex-girlfriend's wedding in a year and decides to humiliate her by writing a best-selling novel. So, by saying, look at me. So, I'm just going to read a portion of this about what he at one point decides to write a thriller. So, he reads one and decides, one called The Darwin Enigma, and figures out what he needs to do to write a best-selling thriller novel. But what I took away from my brief review of The Darwin Enigma was that this kind of writing is easy. You invent the awesomest hero you can think of, pit him against dark, mysterious forces, and let a secret spill out as he crisscrosses the globe. You write about something that people know is important, but they don't really understand, and you make it seem diabolical. You don't bury your action under a lot of nuanced characters or artful prose. Then you buy yourself a pimped-out Escalade, triumph at your ex-girlfriend's wedding, and retire to Hawaii. Here's the challenge I set for myself. With a baking timer and one of Hobart Lascar pharmaceutical notepads in front of me, I sat at Hobart is his roommate, who gives him a anti-ADD drug, Radical, that helps him focus. I sat with one of those notepads in front of me. I sat at the kitchen table and resolved to spend 1 solid hour seeing if I could come up with the idea for an airport thriller. List of bestseller ideas. It's July 1776, and George Washington and Ben Franklin and all those guys are in Philadelphia. There's a murder, and the local authorities turn to the only man they think might be able to solve it, Thomas Jefferson. Tie-ins are always popular. Tie-ins to the always popular founding fathers plus murder. That's a bonus. A border patrol officer A border patrol officer in the Texas desert discovers that some Al-Qaeda guys are sneaking across from Mexico. He tries to warn the folks in Washington, but they don't believe him. So it's up to him and a tough but beautiful lady rancher to stop the terrorists from hijacking a train, filling it with chemicals, and blowing up the Alamo. Might prompt a tie-in cover story in time. How safe is our border? A Hollywood actor filming a jewel heist movie has to stop thieves who try to purloin the real jewels that are being used as props. Maybe Clooney or somebody would play himself in the movie? A lowly but handsome U.S. Department of Agriculture inspector discovers a vast conspiracy to sterilize American men through poison in food. Relatable. Everybody eats food. Another possible time story. How safe is our food? A lithe and athletic former gymnast archaeologist in Central America stumbles across a long-lost city and translates some inscriptions that reveal a diabolical secret. The ancient Mayans discovered how to make nuclear weapons. Pursued by deadly guerrillas and shadowy CIA agents, she has to race through the jungle to stop the technology from falling into the wrong hands. Anything Mexican Central American would probably make for a popular Spanish language translation. A fetching young computer programmer discovers a Japanese video game company has implanted a code in their game that makes kids kill their parents. Could market a tie-in video game. A handsome geologist and a beautiful former ballet dancer / penguin expert in Antarctica discover a sinister oil company plan to destroy the icy continent. Penguins are sellable. A CIA agent discovers the Chinese are secretly training an army of genetically engineered dragons. An American college guy on a Rhodes Scholarship discovers a code in Shakespeare's play. The code leads to a secret about the Bible. A yoga instructor / marine biologist discovers that dolphins have a code in their DNA put there by aliens, the Catholic Church, oil companies. A hip modern Londoner discovers she's under a zombie curse that's followed her family since the 16th century, since her 16th century pirate ancestors. She's helped by a reggae singer who also teaches her how to relax and let love happen. They also fight crime. A New York City cop discovers that some Hasidic Jews have discovered a long-lost 11th commandment that changes everything. Pharmaceutical companies are poisoning everyone's brains. The last thing I realized wasn't my idea. It was something a homeless guy had shouted at me as he was stuffing newspapers into his shirt. Let's say each of my ideas is worth $500,000 in royalties, plus $1 million in movie rights, plus an additional $1 million in franchise fees. That means the paper in my hand was worth $32.5 million. I decided to cut that in half, to be conservative. But still, maybe he was thinking about stern faces and strange symbols on dollar bills. It gave me one last idea as the baking timer went off. A newly elected idealistic president discovers that the history of the United States has been guided by a cabal of aliens and a secret society of their human collaborators. That's the one I knew it. People love reading about presidents, and I could pack in the monsters of best-selling nonfiction, Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt. A suitably epic title occurred to me, Angels in the Whirlwind. The image of mammoth stacks of copies of Angels in the Whirlwind at Costco and movie posters and Reader's Guide and tied in National Geographic specials appeared so clearly that I couldn't wait to make it a physical reality. I rushed to my computer and started typing. What I discovered that after dramatically shifted my understanding of entertainment's economics, writing a thriller, a Hawaii Beach House personal helicopter level blockbuster, is damn near impossible. That's why Tim Drew can give away his secrets for free. It's easy at first, describing your hero's monumental chin and iron core integrity and so forth. But slowly you discover it's like a complicated math problem or assembling a bookshelf. You have to keep track of dozens of tiny parts. Which good guys turn out to be bad guys, which cars get blown up by which helicopters, and you know your readers will have no patience. They're demanding entertainment, so every page has to be interesting and full of guns and veiled threats and snappy retorts. It's exhausting. With the literary fiction, you can just cover up everything with the coat of wordy spackle. The wordies are searching for wisdom, so they're easier to trick. I put Angels in the Whirlwind aside. I think it's a decent idea. If anybody wants to pay me to finish it, call my agent. But that afternoon I went back to the Tornado's Ashes Club, which is his literary fiction. And I googled Calvados and learned that the region known as Calvados, home to the eponymous apple Brady, is bordered on the north by Belle de Seine, on the east by the Seine River. I looked up at Preston Brooks, the guy, literary fiction selling, shoeing his horse. I knew I could beat him. So that is just a few pages of how I became a famous novelist.
That's awesome.
It's fucking hilarious. You would love it. So, and we'll be back in a second with shout-outs and anecdotes.
And I plan on eating you slowly. All we want to do is eat your brains. We're not unreasonable. I mean, no one's gonna eat meet your eyes. All we wanna do is eat your brains. We're at an impasse here. Maybe we should compromise. If you open up the door, we'll all come inside and eat your brains.
And we're back. Hey. Yeah. All right. Next on NPR. No, I'm sorry, RPPR. We're going to have shout-outs.
It's like, shout-outs.
Yes.
Where we give thanks to those who have
Because
done
we're in
things.
public radio, so everything's nice and
We
calm.
do.
No, shit fuck. So, shitballs! All right, let's get these shout-outs started with...
My old lady once said that I wasn't good enough.
Yeah, you had a couple.
Yes, I do.
yeah.
One is a webcomic, actually, that it means a little more to me because I discovered it, and it's called Skin Deep.
Yeah.
It's about, there's monsters in the world, Tom.
Okay.
And they're hiding amongst us.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, I mean, the artwork's really good, writing's really good, but what makes this one interesting to me is, first of all, the artist and writer is from Springfield,
Yeah.
our hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, and Ross said that he knows her.
Yeah, I've talked to her a few times, yeah.
Yeah. And it also takes place in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
So that's bonus for me.
Yeah.
And what's even worse, I just stumbled across it by accident.
Yeah.
So that's like,
As opposed to stumbling across it on purpose.
You don't stumble across something on purpose.
Well, you said...
if you find it on
then
purpose,
why did you say
were
stumble
looking for
across it on accident? I mean, if you say you stumbled across it, that would have...
Fine. That was okay. That was a little redundant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? Please forgive me,
It's
Ross.
not about what I'm going to forgive. Are the listeners going to forgive
I think
me?
they will.
Are you sure?
I'll bribe them if I have to.
With what?
With whatever they want. I will fulfill their darkest desire.
Oh, my
But
God.
there's always a price. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Now I'm thinking about what our listeners, they're the weird, I mean, man, I can't even
Are you
imagine.
saying our listeners are weird?
There's some weirdos. I mean...
You son of a bitch.
All right, moving on. Speaking of listeners, my first shout out is for somafm.com. Soma FM, it's a internet radio station, streaming radio, based in San Francisco. I've been listening to one of their little channels on it called Mission Control, which is sort of ambient chill out music, kind of like relaxed.
Kind of cosmic-y.
Yeah. But they've mixed it with live audio from NASA. NASA, the space shuttle's up there, docked with the International Space Station.
They're installing that observation room.
Yeah. And so, as long as they're not, they're asleep from 6 a.m. Pacific to 2 p.m. Pacific, but the rest of the day they're talking on there, so you can hear Mission Control.
Like robot arm is attached to the cupola.
To the cupola. We are above the Atlantic Ocean right now, and things are looking great. We're in space.
It's like
I'm on a spaceship.
It's like we've just seen a cosmic horror beyond time and space coming right at us.
That would be pretty fucking cool. Well, not for them, but to listen to it. Anyway, so it's a very, very cool, if you want to, late night chill out, don't want to, I listen to the electronic music, but if I'm listening to something like Prodigy or Basement Jaxx, they're kind of like, whoa, let's go!
And
rev me up.
And Rammstein is
I need to chill out.
Rammstein's hard to relax to.
Yeah, you don't, no shit. You seen their newest music video?
Uh-huh.
The porn one? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Rammstein.
Rammstein, you're so crazy.
What was your next shout out?
Yes, my other one is actually a comedy album. I know it's not the most recent one from Jim Gaffigan, but it's Beyond the Pale.
Yeah.
I just purchased it.
Yeah.
It's the one he talks about in depth about Hot Pockets. That's really what he's most famous for.
Yeah.
But it's just really damn funny.
Yeah.
Another comedian that just delivers.
Yeah, solid stuff. We'll have the link to Amazon. You do know we are also, if you're an RPPR listener, you want to help contribute to RPPR, we are an Amazon affiliate. So if you click on a link to one of our stuff and anything you buy on there, we'll get a percentage of that. Very, very, very small percentage of it.
Yes.
Like
but
6% or something.
But every bit of money we get goes to keeping the show alive.
That Amazon affiliate link paid for the World of Cinnabar.
When you say it that way,
yeah.
It really doesn't sound...
Doesn't help my case at
doesn't.
all. Well, the listeners, they probably like, what other piece of crap. They love hearing me freak out about wares.
Where storms and...
Oh, my God. Where mad.
The world ship.
Yeah. Oh, God. Motherfucking Cinnabar. So we'll buy shit on Amazon if you
Raven
buy
McCracken,
shit
what were you
through
thinking?
Amazon. He had real life experience with all of that. That was the best part. Let's see, my next one, obviously How I Became a Famous Novelist, which I just read an excerpt from.
Excellent.
I have the Amazon link of that up there. It's only $14. Remember, they've already optioned it. John August, who is a screenwriter and director, who did The Nines, Big Fish. Yeah, a lot of other movies. He is going to be making the adaptation for it, and that's in development, I think. So I trust it will be very funny and very good. I mean, it's a fucking hilarious novel. And it's a quick
fucking hilarious.
Like, I can read 50 pages like nothing. I've only been reading it like right before I go to sleep, and like I'm still breezing through it. I mean, it's very quick read, very fun read. I cannot recommend it enough. So I've got more, though. I've got more. I win the shout-outs. Yeah, because I have more. Next up, Greg Stolz, obviously friend of RPPR and famous game designer, Unknown Armies. He was the native guide in Well of Sacrifices. I mean, need I go into his Greg Stolz?
You know who he is.
Yeah. He has another ransom up on Kickstarter for a short story he's writing. He's got 18... it goes on until March 4th. I think, and you can contribute as little as $1. It's a short story, a sci-fi short story called Playborg Photographer. So, kind of a sci-fi comedy thing. So if you're a fan of his work, then go ahead and give that a shot. Let's see here. Oh, and then another game designer, Kenneth Hite, who did Trail of Cthulhu and Fear Itself, the Gumshoe system, among other things. He has a really good blog post on his live journal about the role of a game designer, of RPG designer. You know, if you were to break down a story into three elements, there's character, plot, and setting. You know, those are basic bare bones stuff. Players are in charge of character. Obviously, they're the ones characterizing protagonists. The GM is in charge of plot. You know, it makes sense what's going on in the game. But the game designer's decision isn't character or plot; it's setting. So, Kenneth, it's a very short thing, but there's one piece of advice that I've just figured out on my own too, is that when in doubt, use Earth as a setting.
It requires less research.
Well, it's better documented and it's more understood and more detailed than any fantasy world you could ever make up. So I'll use Earth. Like, if you say, like what he says in there, if Kragar the Liberator is secretly in pay of the Drow, I mean, even if you read the 40-page story like of Kragar the Liberator, then you're like, okay, well that's he's kind of two-faced, you know. But if you say Abraham Lincoln is secretly in pay of the Drow,
you got something.
Oh my God, not Honest Abe, no.
There must be a reason.
Yeah, so use the real world as a starting place for your game. That's just part of this essay. So it's a really good thing. It's a really good little essay. I would like it. Let's see here. Then I have a webcomic. Yeah.
Is this really a competition, Ross?
It is if I make it. It's like my brother, you know. My brother lives in Washington, D.C., and, you know, we're here in RPPR in Springfield, Missouri, Midwest. So, you know, the last couple of weeks have been some weather.
Snowpocalypse.
Well, not here. We already had like 8 inches or what.
Snowmageddon.
Exactly. When Snowmageddon or Snowpocalypse happens, Strader was like, oh, we're getting some snow, Strader. Oh, we're getting more snow. I win. It's not a competition. Yes, it is. So that was literally the phone call between me and my brother. Is he won the weather competition because his place had more snow than us.
Like, great. Well, we'll be getting around easier than you. Bye.
Actually, it's kind of funny. He showed me a YouTube video. He got in like a 4,000 person snowball fight at DuPont Circle in DC, which looks really fun. Yeah. I wish I could have done it.
We've both been there.
One of his friends was snowboarding on the streets. Like they tied rope and the little handle on a car, and the guy was behind the car snowboarding. There's a YouTube video of it. It's funny. And then skiing in the parks.
If only you could do that on Pennsylvania Avenue.
No.
But can you imagine a car going by and someone snowboarding behind it with the White House right in the background?
Yeah. I don't think that would work out so well.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it would be. Aside from security.
Oh, like the Secret Service isn't going to do anything.
Yeah,
because I'm sure there are secret Al Qaeda snowboard operators.
So, anyways, I forgot to mention the name of the webcomic shout.
Yes, you did.
It's Hannah is not a boy's name. It is a very well drawn comic about a guy named Hannah who runs a supernatural detective investigation.
There are monsters in the world in this one.
Yes, there's zombies and ghosts and vampires.
That's really it.
So far, it only started last year, and there's not archives will take you like an hour or so to read. It's very entertaining, very well. The art's great, and yeah, so I like that. And then finally, I've got 3 more. It's been a while. I've been saving these up because I write these down, Tom. Anyways, Tom's just looking at me like, "What are you doing?"
I'm giving him my yes, Ross, stare.
I have a really great music video called from the Passion Pit song "Sleepyhead." It's on Vimeo. It's what's great about the music video is that it uses all public domain archival footage of people dancing, and the guy who made it, Gerard Barker, edits it so that they're in sync with the music. But it's just all these world dancing, people. It's very creative, very just like I needed, it's happy. It's a happy music video. So I like, and it's really like phenomenal, great editing, and I appreciate a well edited music video.
As good as the Bitches Love Me Pokemon video.
It's up there, yeah.
Okay,
it's up there. So, and then finally 2 movies that I saw that I liked. One is Stuck, directed by Stuart Gordon, made in 2007, 2008, something like that. It's based on the real life story of the woman who hit a homeless guy. He got embedded in the windshield, and she drove home, left him in the garage to die. So you remember this, Tom?
Yeah, it's Stephen. Is it Stephen Ray?
Yeah, Stephen Ray is the main character in that in the movie version, and he doesn't die. But he's still stuck in there, and I love it because I'd love to do a horror game where the main character is like this woman who's not evil per se. She's just in total denial. It's the banality of evil. She's just a normal person, and she works at a nursing home, and she's very nice to the old people, but she just can't. Like if she reports this, she'll get in trouble, and she just can't. The idea of getting in trouble is just like, no, I can't get in trouble. And she yells at Stephen Ray's character while he's stuck in the windshield, like, why are you doing this to me? It's like, wow, that's fucked up. So, and Stuart Gordon, so there's some gore in there, some black comedy. So that's a fun movie. It's only 90 minutes. It's a good watch. I don't want to spoil anything else. The next one is Killing Room. It's a decent thriller. It stars Timothy Hutton. Main character from Leverage, dude from Leverage, won an Oscar, and some other people, and they're all stuck in a room, and the CIA is using it's a modern day version of MK Ultra, the CIA mind control program. So they're trying to freak, they freak these people out to try and get them to do what they want, and so it's like a very locked room, very minimalist thriller. But if I'm a big fan of conspiracy theories, people interpreting conspiracy theories and that kind of stuff for it. So if you're a fan of that would be good to watch because it's not as good as Stuck. Stuck's more entertaining, but it's worth watching. So yeah. So yeah. Do you want to read this anecdote?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So. I know this is from our listener Wooberman, who is on the RPPR forums. And the RPPR forums you should totally go and hang out at, because they're awesome, and we're there. Well, at least me. I don't know about Tom.
I'm there. Posting. I'm there a lot, just posting.
Yeah, I post all the damn time.
Yes, I know.
All right.
Anyway, so this is from Wooberman. He says, "Hi, Ross and Tom. First of all, I'd like to compliment you guys at RPPR for your advice and guidance through the treacherous trial of electrical acid fire that is the role of GM, without which I would not be writing this missive now. I've been listening to your podcast for almost a year, now starting with episode 22, Get Your Fear On, again instrumental to this anecdote. I'd also like to thank you for introducing me to the gumshoe system and more importantly, fear itself. I purchased this, Esoterrorist, and the Book of Unremitting Horror soon after listening to that episode, so well done there. I had been itching to run Fear Itself ever since, but with it being someone else's turn to run a campaign, I politely sat back and let someone else pull the puppet strings. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, a dreary Sunday evening, games night, and due to a freak snowstorm, the first one in our town for almost 20 years, our Shadowrun DM couldn't attend, so we're left without a game to run. Opportunity beckons. I'd spoken at length at the other players about the merits of Fear Itself and had already fleshed out pre-gen characters for them to play tailored to what kind of character they'd enjoy. So the lineup is as follows, including the worst thing they ever did. The Brain, a curious academic student who cheated on his entrance exam to university. The Sexy Girl, a Cordelia-style horny head cheerleader queen bee with a superiority complex. She drove a fellow student to suicide through bullying. The Good Guy, a protective medical student in his 3rd year. He accidentally killed a patient by giving him the wrong medication. The Authority Figure, a vengeful ex-police self-defense teacher who lost his job after hospitalizing a student during a sparring match. This is soon to be somewhat vastly outdone. That's in parentheses. The Good Girl, a skeptical convenience store clerk who once pushed the guy who was mugging her into oncoming traffic. My wife. And finally, the Wise Guy, a stereotype I made to fit as there were no more to fit the bill. A greedy Polish hospital domestic cleaner who once put child porn on his friend's computer and called the police. Note, Wise Guy and Sexy Girl are in a long-standing and complicated relationship. So with the pre-gens allocated and everyone given a brief outline of the rules we are ready to be in, I decided to run the ocean and the forest scenario from the back of the Fear Itself book since everyone in the group was a member of our local Boffer LARP group. Funnily enough, it's how we all met, by beating each other senseless. There are plenty of anecdotes relating to your LARP antics, but I'm not sure they're appropriate due to RPPR being a PNP podcast. If you want to hear them, I've always got time to put a few out.
Post in the comments if you want to hear Wooberman's LARP anecdotes.
Yes, do that.
Yes.
NPR. The opening went pretty much to plan. Various flashbacks, including Wise Guy spreading erroneous rumors that Sexy Girl had performed sexual favors on him at a party, and another where Good Guy was being screwed over during a LARP session by some of the later introduced antagonists. This was fantastic as it was drawing on a whole lot of previous LARP experiences mingled with the I Killed the King scene from Role Models. As the flashbacks are done with, it's on to the first proper scene, the car crash. This is where the malevolent entity from the Outer Black, the Mystery Man, witnesses the characters and decides to slowly but surely fuck their shit up. I based the Mystery Man in this instance on Slenderman from the Something Awful forums. Fast forward to the actual event. The group, named Fear Itself because the players thought it was cool, were kitted out and sitting in their designated area to defend from the hideous Darkspawn horde. I changed it from orcs because before the game the players were talking extensively about Dragon Age. They were given their introduction that they're planning a competitive LARP event where there is a cash prize for the winners and that they were defending the 7 kingdoms from the Darkspawn. They were also given a radio to call in to their personal game referee for anything they wanted to do in that game that wasn't physically possible, casting spells, flying, etc. Anyhow, as the group got into the basic flow of the event, I'm gradually cranking the menace up. A mutilated rabbit here, some antisocial behavior there, layers upon layers. That's ahem in parentheses. Come the next morning, where Wise Guy witnesses 2 of the guys in the camp next to them getting into a heated argument that ends in one beating the other's face in with a cooking stove. What was Wise Guy's reaction? He records it on the camera phone he snuck into the event. Is this to show the police as evidence? No, it's for YouTube. A swing and a miss. Then, as usual for a LARP event, some of the staff, dressed as Darkspawn, attacks the group with boffer weapons. No biggie, the group manages just fine. So well, in fact, that Authority Figure gets blood drunk and wants to chase down the survivors into the woods. So along with Wise Guy, they venture forth and stumble across one of the guys they hate, running away from them in a different direction, so they follow him instead. Note to self, PCs are like dogs. They like to chase things. Wise Guy ends up tripping on a clumsily made dangerous trap left by the guy who was running away. This trap was a super soaker filled with nail varnish remover. The guys they hate are playing psychic albino daywalker vampires, and has a lighter strapped to the nozzle. Wise Guy is unharmed, damn. But the trap has stopped the daring duo. Authority Figure does just what his name says. He dismantles the trap, radios into the game's control, and hands in the offending evidence. Now before taking the nail varnish remover. All this time he's grinning at me in that way that says, he's got a plan. Oh crap, I forgot he was vengeful. Moving on, slowly but surely, the event turns into chaos, and I tried my hardest to tickle everyone's risk factors. Brain stumbles upon a cache of weapons, including a flare gun and a chromed revolver, both loaded, shows them to Authority Figure, who subsequently confiscates them, but doesn't turn them in. Sexy Girl goes for a lie down, finds some hentai stolen by Wise Guy from one of the other camps. It finds one of them to be strangely prophetic, showing 6 heroes defending their camp from Darkspawn. Think the I'm in a comic drug trip from the Max Payne #1. So on and so on. Eventually, it all turns to hell. A good girl stumbles upon the body of the event's CEO after he hung himself and freaks out. And she's running back to camp. Authority figure is being set upon by a number of Slenderman-controlled LARP geeks, including the wizard with an ill-fitting fake beard, a Crimson Guard from Star Wars, and a Klingon. Authority figure decides to arm himself with what he has. Will it be the gun? Nope, it's a rope with a tent peg tied to the end. How's that for player ingenuity? As this is happening, Wise Guy and Brain aren't doing much and aren't really open to leaving Sexy Girl alone, so I ended up treating them to a show of the anime geek from the camp on the other side. I called him Goku Sephiroth the Stampede, gutting one of his teammates with his unfeasibly large anime sword. Brain was about to act worried when he was interrupted by Wise Guy clapping and shouting, "Is nice," in his best Borat impression. It took all I could not to hit him. A second swing and a miss. I figured that Wise Guy didn't want to play a horror game anymore and was more inclined to be a jackass. Thankfully, the players rebuked him for his transgressions with the beautiful line, "You're supposed to be playing a wise guy, not a twat." Back in game, the characters had decided that enough was enough and no amount of money is going to keep them there, so they moved for the car park. Authority figure turns up bloodied and panting at the camp as they leave, deciding to pick a few essentials before he leaves with them. They don't wait for him. He turns to me. "Where's the guy who made the trap? You're not sure. You remember his camp was about three over from yours." Okay, I pick up the bottle and nail varnish remover and leave for there. He doesn't go far before he runs into that guy, who by now has blood all over his chalky white face and has the look of a rabid skunk. Authority figure thinks this guy is a vampire and chucks the nail varnish remover at him. I say, "Okay, he's covered in the remover. It seems to have pissed him off." He says, "I fire the flare gun into his chest. Vengeance is hot and fiery. Remind me not to piss off this guy ever."
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that it?
No.
Okay.
It was a good end to a session, so I decided to leave it at that. Thankfully, the players said they had a great time, and I did too. I forgot to mention all this time I had the Silent Hill soundtrack playing in the background. Some people say that iPods are physically attuned, or at least have dramatic appropriateness built into their hardware. During this session, I can agree, as the track called Betrayal decided to play just as Good Girl found the CEO's body. It thoroughly freaked her and the players out.
Nice.
Okay, I've rambled on way too much, but I want to thank you guys once again for revolutionizing and reinventing the way I run and play these games. It would make my day if you found this worthy of a mention during one of your podcasts, but I think it's probably too long or lame. Or thank you and good night.
Yes. No, it's not too long.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
We read it.
Yeah.
How do you like them apples?
Yeah. Because
we're gonna
it
make
just
you,
proves how great we are. Because we're
gonna make you
awesome
famous.
Advice.
You're gonna be famous now.
Because you, the dedicated listeners, RPPR, you're the true heroes. Because
you are.
You absorb our wisdom and go out and spread it to the world.
You complete us.
Yeah, you make the gaming world a better place.
You do.
Yeah. So it's like a mystery. So a mystery upon mystery, layers upon layers. Yeah, it's a rich tapestry.
I like tapestries.
Yeah. So this has been episode 41 of the Smoking D20. Be sure to check out zombiesoftheworld.com.
You shall not be disappointed.
Codex of the War Ransom should be up.
I'd like to help you, Tom, in any way I can. I sure appreciate the way you're working with me. I'm not a monster, Tom. Well, technically I am. I guess I